You have 5 more minutes on your break. All right, speak up if you're not back, so we know you're not back yet. Let's see who's here. Jody, are you back?
Yeah, we're here.
Jody, Jody and Melissa are. Rowdy, are you there?
Rowdy.
Kirsten?
Yep, I'm here.
Lauren?
Rowdy.
Yep, I'm
Rhonda?
here.
Maria?
I'm here.
Brindy?
I'm here.
Jennifer? Melissa? Tiffany?
Jennifer's here.
Thank you. Okay, Chris, I have the book up now. Remember, this is a good, simple book. If you'll follow it, get a lot of guides from it. You feel free to text both or email both Chris or I if you come across a problem. This is a pretty simple book. I'm very, very happy with it. So, and remember the ones that are starting literature class next week, Brindy, Lauren, Maria, Kirsten, no, I can't remember, there's 4 of you for next week. Remember to get your literature book so we can get started. It's called Children's Literature Briefly. Follow this book.
I
here.
have
Okay.
it.
Chris, would you like to take over now and talk to them about the good training you've done, Chris?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I'm sharing my screen. I believe you guys can see Scarborough's rope diagram. Is that right? Give me a thumbs up, some of you.
I can see it.
Good. So when Louise was talking about in our last class that the university would like us to teach you a little bit more about the research out there, I'm assuming before I went on tonight that that's kind of the stuff that you were talking about, is some of that. I heard her mention blooms and so forth. But it wasn't a week or 2 after that that I went to a training, a reading training, a teaching reading training, and they started spouting off all these researchers and what the latest research says and so forth. So I started taking notes like crazy, and I'm emailing Louise and saying, hey, this I think fits with what the university may want as far as some of the research that is currently out there. So
Chris, may I
yes,
tell you one thing?
you bet.
Lauren and Brindy, there's 4 of these that are in the theoretical reading class right now, level 1. So 4 of them just finished one all about theory. So they'll love this one.
Very good. And if you're still looking for some research, literature research to back up your research that this action research project, you might be able to use one of these. So if you look down here, we've got this Scarborough lady, 2001. That's been a while ago, but it's really kind of come in vogue lately, and I see it everywhere. Maybe I just didn't see it before, but it's coming everywhere. And basically, she says that in order for us to get skilled reading or to have comprehension, to have all of that excellent execution of reading happen, you've got to have some language comprehension go on. You've got to have some word recognition. And she even breaks those down into some smaller things that you can learn all about. But we all know word recognition, phonological things, decoding things, sight recognition. And when we get up to language, that's the speaking part of it, maybe even the background knowledge, vocabulary, language structures, semantics and syntax. I like those 2 words. Verbal reasoning and literacy. All of those things wind together and build this rope that builds the strong readers. So she's pretty well known. So that might be a research of saying, what does it take to be a skilled reader? Well, you've got to have all of these things going on. The next one that I saw, let's see if I can get, is a guy named Stephen Parker. And he's all about phonics and really was trying to take people away from the whole language. And so a good graphic that I found on his that he was talking about is to say what we should not be doing. Whole language. 2 out of 3 kids do not become proficient readers in this manner. That means only 1/3 do. So Stephen Parker's got that going on. He's got balanced literacy, which is something that some of the instructional coaches, as short as maybe about 8 years ago in this district, was preaching balanced literacy, balanced literacy, balanced literacy. And they're saying that 2 or 3 kids out, 2 out of 3 kids do not become proficient readers in that manner either. He said sight words is not the way to do them. Having kids just memorize sight words, and kids hate them. He is saying, no, don't just have them memorize a sight word. I think that goes back to whole language a little bit. Guessing, looking at the pictures, right, and saying, oh, there's a dog, so it's got spots on it, so the dog's name must be Spot, right? And we've got all kinds of study, he says, but what we really need to do is teach children to code explicitly. And if we can get them to do that, and coding means we're going to look at the phonics. So that's Stephen Parker and some of his direction. Kerry Hempensall. Here's the cover of his research book. I think that says 2018 there. Phonemic awareness. I thought this very, very interesting that his research says that we can predict how powerful a student will become at reading by how well they grasp phonemic awareness. And so it becomes very, very important in that kindergarten era of their education, kindergarten, first grade, where they're learning their sounds and their as they learn their alphabet and alphabetic principle and that type of thing. But some of his research is saying that that's an early indicator of if a kid's going to be a good reader. So the discovery that phonemic awareness is a powerful predictor of subsequent reading progress led to an interest in teaching it prior to reading instruction, thereby priming the student for a higher likelihood of success when reading instruction is introduced. And I thought it was interesting. I'm sorry, I can't remember who was talking about the word wall, the sound wall. Sorry, the sound wall, not the word wall. Who was that?
That was me, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. Yeah, that's right. And the sound wall. And I just had, while you were talking about that, I was in a PLC just last week where a first grade teacher was celebrating her sound wall. She had a little gal that is considered to be pretty low. She's red on her dibbles and everything, and doesn't even have all of her letter recognition going on and her sound recognition. And this first grade teacher has a sound wall. And like you said, all of the sounds were up there, but you cover them up until you've taught them explicitly. And they were doing this little free write thing, or I don't know exactly, but they were writing a one sentence, a little phrase. And this little gal was saying thing, and she puts her TH, and then she was going what makes and she got up out of her seat, went to the sound wall, started on each one of those blends until she says, there it is NG. And so that's a little bit on the phonemic awareness there. I thought that was really a cool little story to talk about teaching reading. Phonological awareness and knowledge of letters have been shown in numerous studies to be the two best predictors of initial reading progress. So Carrie Hempenstall might be one that you look at if you're interested in some information about phonemic awareness. Nancy Young. They threw some stuff in about Nancy Young because she is a queen of researching dyslexia. And her research, as I remember it, as I recall, is that dyslexia is best, I don't want to say combated, as best helped if you can teach the students to decode. If you can get that systematic coding, breaking things into chunks, then that's going to be a big help. And so that's some of the newest research on how to teach reading, period, is getting those students to read in those little decodes. So Nancy Young might be someone that you could look at, and this is her ladder of reading that she's got going on. The next one is a guy named David Lieben. Why Phonics? And this is a copy of his books, his book there. As I was reading through some papers, you can see it says draft. But reading some of his papers there, he talks about how phonics is connected to fluency. And that makes sense, right? If you can decode a word, you can read it faster, you can read it, your accuracy goes up, and that makes fluency go up, makes comprehension go up. But phonics is the basic skill, according to this David Lieben. And the last one, and this one's interesting because I have this book on my shelf and I haven't read it. I've had it there for a year and I haven't been able to read it. But this lady has written this whole book, The Knowledge Gap, And she talks all about, this book is all about the education system and what she thinks is wrong with the education system. And she says, in part in this book, want better readers? Spend less time teaching kids to find the main idea. Teach them how to read first. When they get into those upper grades, and find the main idea. Well, if they don't have the skills of even reading before then that's the problem. That's the target. So she says, teach them to decode to build that fluency, accuracy, and comprehension. So that is, in a nutshell, some of the things that I heard in about a 30-minute presentation. Questions or comments? Comments would be great.
The Knowledge Gap is a fascinating read. I highly recommend it to anyone. And it does reference the CKLA curriculum. So those of you in Iron County might be especially interested in that book.
Yeah. I think that's why I got it, is because we adopted CKLA in UNS School District. And I think that they gave it to us and said, if in your spare time, read this as kind of a setup to where you're headed. Other comments?
I've heard about all those people that don't have all those books yet. We'll have.
The David Lieben, his beginning is an interesting story. So he and his wife in New York City, they didn't begin, but they took over a charter school, but it's a charter school that's part of the NYC system, and were really intrigued. His degree and experience is actually in psychology, but their first year they took that whole language balanced literacy approach, and they were the lowest performing school in the entire system their first year. So they immediately attacked it and figured out how do you learn to read, and they had success applying the principles that you'll obviously read about in his book, but all of those best practices regarding how to teach reading, including meeting students where they're at and filling those holes they may have.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. I wanted to hear what you did too. I love going to workshops like that. Any other comments for Chris? What she needs now, please, she's going to tell you her email address. If you will send your email address to her, she will do the Zoom. Maria, figure out which Saturday is better for you and let me know. But the rest of you, please send your email address to Chris, and then we'll set up those times. And that's where our November meeting is. It's just one like this, just report again how you're doing, how you're coming, anything we can do to help you. And then December the 15th is when we do our final reporting and you're finished. Comments, questions, concerns?
Chris, what is your email address?
Right there. chris.labrum@uenta.net, Uenta School District. If you'll send your email address to her, then I'll send her the times that we've set up, and she will set up the Zoom for us. And for 30 minutes, we'll just listen to you and ask questions and see if there's anything we can do to help you. Just checking in with you. And then December the 15th, we end.
Chris, how is your school year going, given your master plan that you shared with all of us?
That's a great question. The first comment I want to make is be careful, don't put an H in my name, because it goes to another Chris Labrum, believe it or not, that works in the district. But how is mine working? I had to scale it back. Just like you guys, had all these grandiose things where I was going to go in and observe every teacher every month, and I was going to collect data and conference with those teachers, and I was going to see how their planning was doing and the instruction and everything. Oh my goodness. it was way too much. And so I have cut it back to little 20-minute observations where I go in and I have a little rubric that I put together of things that I should see, and share it with the whole team during a PLC. So yeah, I got real ambitious thinking, and I had to scale back a lot. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. What's some of the feedback you've gotten given that process? I like the idea of the PLC debrief.
Well, a lot of it, I really like how safe it's kind of made it for the teachers to be in a PLC as I talk about what I see, because it's not a gotcha. It's not like you don't have your sound wall up yet. You aren't doing a timeline. You aren't, all these things. I'm not seeing you use the cards right. And it's, hey, what do we need to help? What do we need to fix? And I've been able to use my instructional coach to help go in and model, but they have been very thankful that somebody's just helping them implement the program.
Anything else, Chris? If not, we could be through for the evening. Anything else you want to talk to them? We've already discussed the handouts. We discussed the book. We've had our reports. That's all we really have on the schedule tonight, unless you have anything else you want to talk about or anybody else needs to.
No,
I just, where's that standards? The one that you were going to do the competencies for the literacy specialist for that one we had to do. I have like 3 of them pulled up and I'm not sure which one the assignment should be on. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I'll go back and see if I can find it here in just a minute.
Thank you.
Anything else, anybody?
Hey, Brindy, I asked you again if you can email that unit tracking sheet. I put my email in the comments on the.
Okay, and also I was going to tell you, we make sure they have like so many units a week that they have to complete. And I have like, this is your goal for the end. This will get you to that goal. And every week I update it. I don't know if that would help either. But I didn't get your email.
Yeah, I put it in the discussions. But like when we comment.
Oh, in the discussions, like.
In the discussions. Or I could just tell you too.
Louise, I think I'm not sure exactly what is still due. I looked out there at the assignments and I can't quite get a handle on it. Is it possible that you could send me an email? This is Kate.
Yes. Yep.
Actually, it'd be really great if you could discuss it, because that was my question also.
Okay, let's go to the syllabus and we will look at it so that everybody. Okay, I'm on. I'm not even on it because I'm not on. I haven't put it over on my. Okay, class 1, reading specialist internship syllabus. Let's see what the assignments were. Let's go down. Oh, I still haven't put it over on the. Somebody took over the screen. It won't go back over. There, finally got it, figured it out. Okay, let's see what the assignments were. Let me go to the bottom of it here, required text. Okay, the assignments are, oh, he lost it again, it went off of it. Just a minute, why did it, there's back again. Okay, they want you, SUU wants you to look. Is everybody on the same page as me? Suggested assignments and activities. There are 12 things that they think literacy specialists should know about. They want you just to look at them and say, I know about number 1, or I've never done number 1. I know about 3, 4. They want you just to look at these 12 competencies and just write a little article, just write a little paragraph and say, I'm really good on number 4, 5, 9, and 10. I've never done 11 and 12. They just want you to evaluate yourself and see if you have those competencies. Does that make sense on that one? Any questions on that one?
So, Brindy, that's what you were looking for right there, was those 12 competencies. Okay?
And then we're doing this action research project. That's where you're going to turn in your project that you're working on. There's ideas that you could do here. You could look at a curriculum strand. Some of you are looking at curriculum. You don't have to do everything it says there. This is their big story they want you to do, but they want you to look at, are you doing a curriculum stand in your research, or a professional development one, or are you looking at assessment? So each of you will, or are you going to be a literacy coach? You're just going to send in your abstract or a little summary, couple paragraphs of what my project's about, like you just talked about just now.